Welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about something interesting. We will talk about learning English in your sleep. Many people dream of speaking English fluently. They study grammar. They memorize vocabulary. They watch videos and read books. But sometimes they still feel stuck. They feel tired. They feel frustrated. They wonder if there is an easier way. A few years ago, I met a young man named Adam. Adam wanted to speak English. Well, he had a simple dream. He wanted to talk to people from different countries. He wanted to watch English movies without subtitles. He wanted to understand English songs. Most of all, he wanted to feel confident when speaking. Every day, Adam studied English. He learned new words. He practiced sentences. He listened to conversations. But after many months, he felt disappointed. He thought he was not improving fast enough. One evening, Adam sat in his room. He looked at his notebook. It was full of English words. Some words were easy. Some words were difficult. He felt tired after a long day of studying. As he closed his notebook, he asked himself a question. What if I could learn while I sleep? At first, the idea sounded strange. How could someone learn English while sleeping? It seemed impossible. But Adam became curious. The next day, he searched for information. He read articles. He watched videos. He listened to experts talking about language learning. Soon he discovered something important. Your brain does not completely stop working when you sleep. While your body rests, your brain continues to process information. It organizes memories. It stores experiences. It strengthens things you learned during the day. This surprised Adam. He learned that sleep is one of the most important parts of learning. Without good sleep, people forget things more easily. With good sleep, the brain remembers information better. Adam realized something. Maybe learning English in your sleep does not mean opening a book while sleeping. Maybe it means helping your brain remember English while it rests. That night, Adam decided to try something new. Before going to bed, he listened to a simple English story. The story was easy. The sentences were short. The vocabulary was simple. He listened carefully. Then he listened again. After that, he went to sleep. The next morning, something interesting happened. When Adam listened to the same story again, many sentences sounded familiar. He remembered words more easily. He understood more than before. It was not magic. It was not a secret trick. His brain had continued working while he slept. This small experience motivated him. Every night, Adam created a simple routine. Before sleeping, he spent 20 minutes listening to English. Sometimes he listened to stories. Sometimes he listened to conversations. Sometimes he listened to slow English podcasts. He did not choose difficult materials. He chose things he could mostly understand. This was important. Many learners make the mistake of listening to English that is too difficult. Then they become confused and frustrated. Adam learned to keep things simple. Each night he relaxed and listened carefully. He did not force himself. He did not worry about understanding every word. He simply listened. Then he slept. After several weeks, Adam noticed changes. His listening skills improved. His vocabulary grew. Words that once felt strange started feeling familiar. He heard them again and again. Slowly, they became part of his memory. One day, Adam was watching an English video. Suddenly, he understood a sentence without translating it into his native language. This was a big moment. For the first time, English felt natural. He smiled. The progress was small, but it was real. Many people think fluency comes from one big breakthrough. But Adam discovered something different. Fluency comes from small improvements every day. One new word, one new sentence, one new expression. Over time, these small pieces become something powerful. As Adam continued his journey, he learned another lesson. Sleep alone could not make him fluent. He still needed to practice. He still needed to read. He still needed to speak. He still needed to listen during the day. Sleep was not a replacement for learning. Sleep was a helper. It helped his brain remember what he learned. This understanding changed everything. Instead of searching for shortcuts, Adam focused on building good habits. Every morning, he reviewed a few words. Every afternoon, he practiced speaking. Every evening, he listened to English. Every night, he slept well. These simple habits worked together. Day after day, week after week, month after month, his confidence began to grow.
Soon, Adam stopped being afraid of English. Before, he worried about making mistakes. Now, he understood that mistakes were normal. Every mistake taught him something. Every correction helped him improve. One evening, Adam met an English speaker online. They started a conversation. At first, Adam felt nervous. His hands felt cold. His heart beat fast. But he remembered all the hours he had spent listening. He remembered all the stories he had heard before sleeping. He remembered all the words he had practiced. Then he started speaking. The conversation was not perfect. He made mistakes. He forgot some words, but he kept talking. The other person understood him. That moment gave him confidence. When the conversation ended, Adam felt proud. He realized that progress was happening, maybe not quickly, maybe not perfectly, but it was happening. From that day forward, Adam became even more committed to his learning routine. He protected his sleep. He listened to English every day. He stayed patient. Most importantly, he stopped looking for instant results. Learning English became a journey instead of a race. And every night, as he closed his eyes, he knew something important. His brain was still helping him learn. His dreams were getting closer. His English was getting stronger, little by little, day by day, night by night. This was only the beginning of Adam's story. Challenges ahead. There were moments of doubt, moments of success, and lessons that completely changed the way he learned English. Chapter 2. The Secret Power of Night Listening. A few weeks after starting his new routine, Adam woke up one morning feeling different. He could not explain it. Nothing dramatic had happened. He had not suddenly become fluent. He had not learned hundreds of new words overnight. Yet something had changed. English no longer felt like a stranger. When he listened to English stories, the sounds felt more familiar. Words that once seemed difficult now sounded normal. Sentences flowed more naturally in his mind. Adam was curious. Why was this happening? One evening, he decided to learn more about how the brain works during sleep. Shoop, slow. He discovered that the brain loves repetition. When we hear something many times, our brain starts recognizing patterns. It becomes easier to understand the same words and phrases later. This gave Adam an idea. Instead of listening to different content every night, He would listen to the same story for several nights in a row. Most people would find this boring, but Adam wanted to experiment. The first night, he listened to a simple story about a boy who traveled to a new city. He understood some parts, other parts were difficult. The second night, he listened again. This time, he understood a little more. The third night, even more words became clear. By the fifth night, he could understand most of the story without much effort. Adam was amazed. The story had not changed. His brain had changed. Every night, his brain became more familiar with the vocabulary, pronunciation, and sentence patterns. This taught him an important lesson. Sometimes learners move too quickly. They jump from one video to another. They switch from one lesson to the next. They constantly search for new content. But real learning often comes from repetition. Hearing the same words again and again helps them become part of your memory. More. Adam started creating a bedtime listening routine. Every night, one hour before sleeping, he turned off distractions. He put away his phone. He closed social media. He sat quietly and listened to English. The atmosphere was calm. There was no pressure. There were no tests. There were no grades. Just listening. This made learning enjoyable. Soon, bedtime became Adam's favorite part of the day. He looked forward to it. Instead of feeling stressed about learning English, he felt relaxed. And when learning feels enjoyable, progress becomes easier. One night, Adam listened to a story about a family having dinner together. The story contained simple phrases. How was your day? I'm hungry. The food is delicious. Thank you. At first, these phrases seemed ordinary, but after hearing them many times, Adam noticed something. He started using them naturally. When speaking to himself, these expressions appeared automatically. He no longer needed to translate them. This was an exciting discovery. The more familiar English became, the faster his brain could use it. Many learners focus only on learning new words. Adam learned that familiar words are often more valuable. A word you know well is better than 10 words you barely remember. Because of this, Adam stopped trying to memorize huge vocabulary lists. Instead, he focused on common words and expressions. He listened to them repeatedly. He used them repeatedly. He reviewed them repeatedly. Little by little, they became part of his daily language. Another surprising thing happened. Adam's pronunciation started improving. Before, he often mispronounced words. He read words correctly but said them incorrectly. This is common for many learners. They know the spelling, but they do not know the sound. Night listening helped solve this problem. Every evening, Adam heard native speakers pronounce words correctly. His ears became trained. Over time, his mouth started copying those sounds more naturally. One day, he recorded himself speaking English. Then he listened to an older recording from several months before. The difference shocked him. His pronunciation had improved greatly. His speech sounded smoother. His confidence was stronger. For the first time, he felt proud of his progress. But Adam also faced challenges. Not every day was easy. Some mornings he woke up feeling tired. Some days he felt unmotivated. Sometimes, he wondered if he was improving at all. During those moments, he reminded himself of something important. Progress is not always visible. A tree does not grow overnight. A language is the same. Growth happens slowly. Sometimes you cannot see it, but it is still happening. This mindset helped Adam stay consistent. Even on difficult days, he continued his routine. He listened before bed. He slept well. He practiced during the day. And he trusted the process. As months passed, English became a natural part of his life. He listened while walking. He listened while relaxing. He listened before sleeping. English was everywhere around him. One evening, Adam realized he had listened to more than 100 English stories. 100 stories. 100 opportunities to hear vocabulary, pronunciation, and sentence patterns. No wonder he was improving. The small efforts had added up. Each night had contributed something valuable. Each story had taught him something new. Each listening session had strengthened his skills. Then, one night, something happened that made Adam smile. He had a dream. In his dream, people were speaking English. And for the first time, he understood them. The dream was simple. People were talking. They were asking questions. They were sharing stories. And Adam could understand most of what they said. When he woke up, he laughed. Maybe it was just a dream, but it felt like a sign. English was becoming part of his mind, part of his daily thoughts, part of his life. At that moment, Adam realized something important. Learning English in your sleep is not about magic. It is not about becoming fluent overnight. It is about giving your brain the right information before it rests. It is about helping your memory grow stronger. It is about building habits that work day after day. And Adam was only beginning to discover how powerful those habits could become. In the next chapter, Adam learns the biggest mistake most English learners make before going to sleep and how avoiding that mistake helped him improve much faster. Chapter 3. The Biggest Bedtime Mistake. For several weeks, everything had been going well. He followed his routine. He listened to stories before bed. He slept well. He practiced during the day. Then suddenly, his progress seemed to slow down. He felt confused. Why am I not improving as quickly as before? He asked himself. At first, he thought he needed harder lessons. Maybe he needed more vocabulary. Maybe he needed more grammar. Maybe he needed to study longer. But after thinking carefully, Adam discovered something surprising. The problem was not his English. The problem was his bedtime habits. Every night before sleeping, Adam spent a lot of time scrolling through social media. He watched random videos. He read comments. He jumped from one thing to another. Sometimes he stayed awake much later than planned. His brain felt busy. His mind felt crowded. Even when he listened to English afterward, he struggled to focus. One evening, Adam decided to change this habit. He turned off his phone 1 hour before bedtime. No social media. No endless scrolling. No distractions. Instead, he spent that time listening to calm English stories. The difference was amazing. His mind felt peaceful. His attention improved. He understood more of what he heard. Soon, Adam realized that a calm mind learns better. This became one of the most important lessons in his journey. Learning English is not only about studying. It is also about creating the right environment for learning. A tired and distracted mind struggles to remember information. A calm and focused mind learns much faster. 4. From that day forward, Adam protected his bedtime routine. Every evening, he followed the same simple steps. First, he finished his daily tasks. Then he prepared for bed. Next, he listened to English for 20 or 30 minutes. After that, he went to sleep. The routine was simple, but it worked. Humans love routines. When you repeat the same habit every day, it becomes easier. You no longer need motivation, you simply do it automatically. Adam noticed another benefit. His sleep quality improved. Before, he often stayed awake thinking about many different things. Now his mind felt calmer. He slept more deeply. And better sleep helped his learning even more. One morning, Adam woke up feeling refreshed. He listened to an English story while eating breakfast. To his surprise, he understood almost everything. Words that once felt difficult now felt easy. Sentences that once seemed confusing now made sense. He smiled. These small victories made him excited to continue. Another thing happened during this period. Adam started noticing English everywhere. When he watched movies, he recognized phrases he had heard before. When he listened to songs, he understood more lyrics. When he read articles, familiar vocabulary appeared again and again. This was not because the world had changed. It was because his brain had changed. The more English he learned, the more English he noticed. One evening, Adam listened to a short story about a traveler visiting a new country. The story contained many common expressions. After listening several times, Adam began using those expressions in his own speech. Woo! Without realizing it, he was copying natural English patterns. This is one reason listening is so powerful. When you hear English often, your brain learns sentence structures naturally. You begin to understand how English sounds. You begin to feel what sounds right. You begin to speak more naturally. Adam loved this discovery. Instead of memorizing complicated grammar rules all day, he was learning naturally through listening. Of course, grammar was still important, but listening helped him see grammar in action. It helped him understand how people actually speak. As the weeks passed, Adam became more disciplined. Some nights he felt tired. Some nights he wanted to skip his listening session. But he remembered something important. Success comes from consistency, not perfection. You do not need to study for 5 hours every day. You simply need to keep showing up. A little practice every day is more powerful than a lot of practice once in a while. Adam followed this principle. Even on busy days, he listened for 10 minutes. Even on difficult days, he listened for a few minutes. He never stopped completely. That small habit kept him moving forward. One rainy evening, Adam sat near his window listening to a simple English story. Rain tapped softly against the glass. The room was quiet. The story was easy to understand. As he listened, he realized something. Months earlier, this same story would have felt difficult. Now it felt easy. This realization filled him with confidence. He finally saw how far he had come. Progress often feels invisible while it is happening. But when you look back, you can see the difference clearly. Adam thought about the person he used to be. He remembered feeling afraid of English. He remembered struggling. He remembered struggling to understand basic conversations. He remembered translating every sentence in his head. Now things were different. He still had a lot to learn, but he was moving forward, and that was what mattered. Before going to sleep that night, Adam wrote something in his notebook. He wrote, "Small steps every day create big results." Then he closed the notebook and smiled. Those words became his personal motto. Whenever he felt discouraged, he read that sentence again. It reminded him to stay patient. It reminded him to trust the process. Most importantly, it reminded him that every listening session mattered. Every story mattered. Every night mattered. Because each small effort was helping him become a better English speaker. And soon, Adam would discover another powerful secret. A secret that would help him start thinking in English, instead of translating everything in his mind. That discovery would change his learning journey forever. Chapter 4. Thinking in English without translating. Whenever someone spoke English, he translated everything into his native language. Iteration. When he heard a sentence, his brain worked like this. English first, translation second, understanding third. This process was slow, very slow. By the time Adam understood one sentence, the speaker had already said another one. Sometimes he missed important information. Sometimes he became confused. Sometimes he felt frustrated. One day, while listening to an English podcast, Adam noticed something interesting. The speaker said, "Good morning." Adam immediately understood. He did not translate it. He simply understood it. A few minutes later, the speaker said, "How are you today?" Again, Adam understood without translating. This made him curious. Why could he understand some phrases instantly, but not others? The answer was simple. He had heard those phrases hundreds of times. They had become familiar. His brain recognized them automatically. That evening, Adam decided to focus on thinking in English. He knew it would not be easy. For many years, he had depended on translation. Now he wanted to change that habit. The next morning, he tried a simple exercise. When he woke up, he looked around his room. Instead of thinking in his native language, he used simple English words. Bed, window, door, chair, book. The words were simple, but they were powerful. For the first time, Adam was connecting English directly to real objects. No translation, just understanding. At first, this felt strange. His brain wanted to return to old habits. It wanted to translate everything, but Adam continued practicing. Every day, he named objects around him in English. Then he started creating simple sentences. The window is open. My book is on the table. I am drinking water. The weather is nice. These were small sentences, but they helped him think directly in English. After a few weeks, Adam noticed progress. His thoughts became faster. His mind spent less time translating. English started feeling more natural. One afternoon, Adam went for a walk. As he walked, he decided to describe everything he saw in English. The sky is blue. The road is busy. There are many people. A child is playing. A car is passing by. At first, his sentences were very basic. But that was okay. The goal was not perfection. The goal was practice. Every sentence helped build a new habit. Every thought strengthened his English. Soon, Adam discovered another useful trick. Pop, pock! Before sleeping, he spent 5 minutes thinking about his day in English. He asked himself simple questions. What did I do today? What did I learn today? What will I do tomorrow? Then he answered using simple English. Sometimes his answers were short. Sometimes he could not remember the right word, but he kept going. Little by little, his English thoughts became longer. His confidence grew. One evening, Adam listened to an English story before bed. Something unusual happened. Instead of translating every sentence, he started imagining the story directly. When the storyteller mentioned a house, Adam pictured a house. When the storyteller mentioned a dog, Adam pictured a dog. When the storyteller mentioned a river, Adam pictured a river. There was no translation, only understanding. This was a major breakthrough. Adam finally understood something important. Languages are not just words. Languages are ideas. When you think about ideas directly, communication becomes easier. From that day forward, Adam focused less on translation and more on meaning. Whenever he learned a new word, he imagined it. Whenever he learned a new phrase, he connected it to a real situation. This made learning much more effective. Another interesting thing happened. His speaking speed improved. Before, conversations felt stressful. He spent too much time translating. Now words came to him more quickly. He could respond faster. He could participate more naturally. Of course, he still made mistakes. Everyone does. But mistakes no longer frightened him. They became part of the learning process. One weekend, Adam joined an online English conversation group. Several learners from different countries were there. At first, Adam felt nervous, but he decided to challenge himself. During the conversation, he tried not to translate. Instead, he focused on understanding ideas. He listened carefully. He answered simply. To his surprise, the conversation went well. For the first time, he felt truly connected to the discussion. When the meeting ended, Adam felt proud. He had taken another step forward. That night, he wrote in his notebook again. This time he wrote, "Think in English. Do not translate every word." He read the sentence several times. Then he smiled. It seemed like a small lesson, but it was changing everything. As weeks passed, Adam continued practicing. He thought in English while walking. He thought in English while cooking. He thought in English before sleeping. Slowly, English became part of his daily life. The language no longer felt foreign. It started feeling familiar, comfortable, natural. One evening, while listening to an English story before bed, Adam realized something remarkable. He had understood an entire paragraph without translating a single sentence. Months earlier, this would have seemed impossible. Now it was happening naturally. This moment filled him with excitement. He was finally experiencing real progress, not because he was studying harder, not because he had found a secret shortcut, but because he had practiced consistently, day after day, night after night, step by step. As Adam closed his eyes and prepared for sleep, he felt grateful. His journey was still far from over. There were still challenges ahead. There were still skills to improve. But he was becoming the kind of English speaker he had always wanted to be, and very soon he would discover another powerful habit, a habit that would dramatically increase his vocabulary without memorizing endless word lists. Chapter 5. Learning thousands of words naturally. Whenever he watched movies or listened to conversations, he heard many words he did not know. Sometimes he felt discouraged. There were so many words in English. How could he possibly learn them all? One day, Adam found a notebook from his first months of learning English. He opened it and looked at the pages. There were hundreds of vocabulary words written inside. Some words had meanings. Some words had example sentences. Some words were highlighted. But something surprised him. He had forgotten many of them. He spent hours memorizing those words. Yet many had disappeared from his memory. This made him think. Maybe memorization was not the best solution. Maybe there was a better way. That evening, Adam listened to an English story before bed. The story was about a young traveler exploring a new city. As he listened, he heard the word journey several times. The next day, he heard the same word in a video. Later, he saw it in an article. Then he noticed it in another story. Soon, he understood the meaning naturally. Nobody forced him to memorize it. Nobody gave him a test. The word simply became familiar through repetition. This experience taught Adam something important. Words are easier to remember when they appear in real situations. Your brain likes context. When words are connected to stories, conversations, and experiences, they become easier to understand. From that day forward, Adam changed his approach. Instead of studying endless vocabulary lists, he focused on listening and reading regularly. Whenever he discovered a new word, he paid attention to how people used it. He noticed the surrounding words. He noticed the situation. He noticed the meaning. Then he moved on. At first, this felt strange. He worried about forgetting words. But something interesting happened. The important words kept returning, again and again. English uses many common words repeatedly. The more Adam listened and read, the more often he saw these words. Eventually, they became part of his vocabulary. One afternoon, Adam was reading a simple story. He found a word he did not know. Normally, he would stop immediately and open a dictionary. But this time, he decided to continue reading. He looked at the sentence carefully. Then he looked at the next sentence. Soon, he guessed the meaning. When he finally checked the dictionary, his guess was correct. Adam smiled. His understanding skills were improving. He was learning to use context. This is a powerful skill. Native speakers do it all the time. They do not know every word they hear, but they often understand the meaning through context. Adam began practicing this skill every day. The more he practiced, the stronger it became. A few weeks later, Adam noticed another change. He was remembering words longer. Before, he learned words and quickly forgot them. Now, many words stayed in his memory. Why? Because he was meeting them naturally. He was seeing them in stories, hearing them in conversations, reading them in articles, using them in sentences. The words became part of his experience. One evening, Adam listened to a story before bed. The story described a beautiful mountain village. Words like peaceful, quiet, village, forest, and river appeared throughout the story. The next day, Adam could remember most of them, not because he memorized them, but because he imagined them. He could picture the village. He could picture the river. He could picture the forest. Images helped the words stay in his mind. This gave him another idea. Whenever he learned a new word, he tried to create a mental picture. If the word was apple, he imagined an apple. If the word was mountain, he imagined a mountain. If the word was happy, he imagined a happy person smiling. These mental pictures made vocabulary easier to remember. Another thing happened. Adam stopped worrying about learning every word. This reduced his stress. Many learners believe they must understand everything. But this is not true. Even advanced speakers encounter unfamiliar words. The goal is not perfection. The goal is progress. Adam learned to focus on understanding the main idea. If he understood 80 or 90%, he continued. This simple habit made learning more enjoyable. One day, while watching an English movie, Adam realized something exciting. He understood far more than before. Many words felt familiar. Many expressions made sense immediately. Months earlier, this movie would have seemed difficult. Now it felt comfortable. This motivated him even more. As his vocabulary grew, his confidence also grew. Speaking became easier. Writing became easier. Reading became easier. Listening became easier. Everything was connected. Vocabulary is like building blocks. The more blocks you have, the easier it becomes to create something larger. But Adam also learned another important lesson. Important than quantity. Knowing 1,000 useful words is often better than knowing 5,000. Rare words. Common words appear everywhere. They help you understand conversations, books, videos, and everyday situations. Because of this, Adam focused on useful vocabulary, words people actually use, words he could hear every day, words he could practice immediately. This approach helped him improve much faster. One evening, while preparing for sleep, Adam opened his notebook. He looked through old pages. Many words that once seemed difficult now felt easy. He could understand them instantly. He could use them naturally. Seeing this progress made him happy. For a moment, he thought about the beginning of his journey. Back then, English felt overwhelming. Now it felt manageable. Back then, every new word felt like a challenge. Now every new word felt like an opportunity. Before going to bed, Adam wrote another sentence in his notebook. He wrote, "Do not chase words. Let words become your friends." Then he closed the notebook. He listened to his English story. He relaxed. And as he drifted to sleep, he knew he was becoming stronger every day. Not through magic, not through shortcuts, but through patience, repetition, and consistent practice. And soon, Adam would discover another powerful lesson, a lesson that would help him speak English with confidence, even when he made mistakes. Chapter 6. The confidence to make mistakes. Adam was afraid of making mistakes. Every time he wanted to speak English, a voice inside his head stopped him. What if I say something wrong? What if people laugh at me? What if my pronunciation is bad? What if I forget a word? These thoughts made him nervous. Sometimes he stayed silent even when he knew the answer. Sometimes he avoided conversations. Sometimes he missed opportunities to practice. One evening, Adam was listening to an English story before bed. The storyteller said something simple. The person who never makes mistakes never learns anything new. Adam paused the audio. He thought about that sentence. The words stayed in his mind. He realized something important. Every skill requires mistakes. When children learn to walk, they fall many times. When people learn to ride a bicycle, they lose balance. When someone learns to play music, they play wrong notes. Mistakes are part of learning. Why should English be different? The next day, Adam decided to change his mindset. Instead of fearing mistakes, he would accept them. This sounded easy, but it was not. Fear had been with him for a long time. Changing that habit required practice. A few days later, Adam joined an online English conversation group again. As the meeting started, he felt nervous. His heart beat faster. His hands felt cold. The old fear returned, but this time, he remembered the sentence from the story. The person who never makes mistakes never learns anything new. When his turn came to speak, Adam took a deep breath. He introduced himself. Then he shared a few thoughts. Shovrabad. During the conversation, he made several mistakes. He used the wrong tense. He forgot a word. He mispronounced another word. For a moment, he felt embarrassed. But something unexpected happened. Nobody laughed. Nobody criticized him. The other learners were also making mistakes. Everyone was learning. Everyone was improving. Everyone was trying their best. By the end of the meeting, Adam felt relieved. His mistakes had not ruined anything. In fact, they had helped him learn. One participant corrected one of his sentences. Another taught him a new expression. A third helped him pronounce a difficult word. Each mistake became a lesson. This changed Adam's perspective completely. Oh, God. He stopped seeing mistakes as enemies. He started seeing them as teachers. From that day forward, he created a new habit. Whenever he made a mistake, he wrote it down. Not to feel bad, not to criticize himself, but to learn from it. Soon, he had a notebook filled with corrections. Every correction represented growth. Every correction represented progress. Every correction brought him one step closer to fluency. Another interesting thing happened. Because Adam was no longer afraid, he spoke more often. And because he spoke more often, he improved faster. Confidence created practice. Practice created improvement. Improvement created more confidence. It became a positive cycle. One afternoon, Adam decided to challenge himself. He recorded a short video in English. At first, he felt uncomfortable. He noticed every mistake, every pause, every pronunciation problem. But instead of deleting the recording, he watched it carefully. Then he made another recording, and another. Each one became a little better. Over time, he became more comfortable hearing his own voice. This was important. Many learners avoid listening to themselves, but listening helps you notice areas that need improvement. Adam learned that progress begins with awareness. If you know your weaknesses, you can improve them. If you avoid them, they stay the same. Several weeks later, Adam met an English speaker online. They talked for nearly 30 minutes. Months earlier, this would have felt impossible. Now, it felt exciting. Of course, Adam still made mistakes, but he no longer stopped speaking because of them. When he forgot a word, he described it using other words. When he made an error, he corrected himself and continued. The conversation kept moving. Communication was happening, and that was the goal. One evening, while listening to an English story before sleep, Adam heard another sentence that inspired him. Fluency is not speaking perfectly. Fluency is expressing your ideas with confidence. Adam smiled. For a long time, he believed fluent people never made mistakes. Now he knew the truth. Even fluent speakers make mistakes. The difference is that they keep talking. They do not let mistakes stop them. This realization gave Adam freedom. He no longer chased perfection. He chased communication. He focused on sharing ideas. He focused on understanding others. He focused on continuous improvement. As his confidence grew, something remarkable happened. People started noticing the difference. Friends commented on his progress. Conversation partners understood him more easily. His speaking became smoother. His voice became stronger. His hesitation became smaller. Adam was becoming the English speaker he had always wanted to be, not because he was perfect, but because he was willing to keep going. One night, before sleeping, Adam opened his notebook. He looked at all the mistakes he had written down over the months. Hundreds of corrections filled the pages. Instead of feeling embarrassed, he felt proud. Every mistake represented a lesson. Every lesson represented progress. Every page represented growth. Then he wrote another sentence. This sentence became one of his favorites. He wrote, "Mistakes are proof that I am learning." He read it twice. Then he closed the notebook. As he listened to his bedtime English story, he felt grateful. The fear that once controlled him was disappearing. Confidence was taking its place, and that confidence would soon help him discover the final piece of the puzzle, a lesson that would transform English from a subject he studied into a natural part of his everyday life. Chapter 7. English becomes part of life. One morning, Adam woke up and listened to an English weather report. Not because it was a lesson, but because he wanted to know the weather. Another day, he watched a video about cooking, not because it was an English exercise, but because he wanted to learn a new recipe. Another evening, he listened to a story before bed, not because he was forcing himself to practice, but because he genuinely enjoyed the story. English was becoming part of his life, and when something becomes part of your life, learning becomes natural. This was one of the biggest discoveries Adam ever made. Many learners spend all their time studying English, but they never use English to live. Adam started doing both. He continued learning, but he also started living through English. He read articles about his interests. He watched videos about topics he loved. He listened to podcasts during walks. He followed English-speaking creators online. Little by little, English stopped feeling like work. It started feeling normal. One afternoon, Adam was watching a travel video. Halfway through the video, he suddenly realized something. He had been listening for 20 minutes without thinking about English. He was simply enjoying the content. Months earlier, this would have been impossible. Back then, every sentence required effort. Every word required attention. Now his brain understood naturally. This moment made him smile. It showed him how much he had improved. As time passed, Adam became more confident than ever. He joined conversations. He shared opinions. He asked questions. He told stories. Sometimes he still made mistakes. but they no longer bothered him. His focus had changed. His goal was communication, not perfection. One evening, Adam met a new friend online. They talked about movies, travel, and daily life. The conversation lasted nearly an hour. Afterward, Adam sat quietly and thought about what had happened. He had spoken English for an entire hour. An entire hour. Without fear, without constant translation, without giving up. For a moment, he remembered the person he used to be. The person who was afraid to speak. The person who felt overwhelmed by English. The person who doubted himself. That person felt very far away now. The journey had not been easy. There had been challenges. There had been difficult days. There had been moments of frustration. But Adam never stopped moving forward. One small step at a time. That was the secret. Not talent. Not luck. Not magic. Consistency. Every night he listened. Every day he practiced. Every week he improved. The small actions added up. One night, as Adam prepared for bed, he followed the routine that had changed his life. He listened to an English story. He relaxed. He reflected on his progress. Then he smiled. The story reminded him of his own journey. A journey that began with a simple question. The story, what if I could learn English in my sleep? Now he knew the answer. Sleep alone could not make someone fluent. But sleep could support learning. Sleep could strengthen memory. Sleep could help the brain organize information. Most importantly, sleep could become part of a healthy learning routine. Adam realized that learning English in your sleep is really about preparing your brain for success. Listen before bed. Relax your mind. Get good sleep. Practice during the day. Repeat constantly. These simple habits create powerful results. Before turning off the light, Adam opened his notebook one final time. Inside were years of notes. New words. Corrections. Goals. Thoughts. Dreams. Memories. He slowly turned the pages. Each page told part of his story. Each page showed progress. Each page represented effort. Then he wrote one final message. A message he wished he could send to every English learner in the world. He wrote, "You do not need to be perfect. You only need to keep going." Adam looked at the sentence and nodded. It was true. Every fluent speaker started as a beginner. Every confident speaker once felt nervous. Every success started with a small first step. As he closed the notebook, he felt grateful. Grateful for every lesson, grateful for every mistake, grateful for every challenge, because all of them had helped him grow. That night, Adam fell asleep peacefully. Not because he had finished learning, but because he understood something important. Learning never truly ends. There will always be new words, new expressions, new stories, new discoveries. And that is what makes the journey beautiful. So if you are learning English right now, remember Adam's story. Listen every day. Practice every day. Be patient with yourself. Do not fear mistakes. Think in English. Use English in your daily life. Get good sleep. Trust the process. And most importantly, never give up. Because every word you learn is a step forward. Every sentence you speak is progress. Every day you continue is a victory. Your journey may be slow, but slow progress is still progress. Keep going. Keep learning. Keep growing. And one day, you will look back and realize that the English you once struggled with has become a natural part of your life. Thank you for joining this journey. I hope Adam's story inspires you to continue your own English learning adventure. Remember, your future fluency begins with the small steps you take today. Keep believing in yourself and keep moving forward